So, how are you doing, Aarti? All well?
Good, good. How are you?
Good, good. Just a little
Okay.
nervous. I don't think I've done this before.
Yeah, I did one, I think, but this is something some new setup today. That was just a live Facebook this thing earlier. Yeah, I think we are live.
Yeah, it says live.
Okay.
How do we know when people join?
That's what even I'm checking.
On the top. Okay. I think you're on mute.
Yeah. Hey everyone, we are live, but we'll give couple of minutes for others to join and then we can start. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, any doubts, you can just post in the comment and we'll address in the end.
How's the weather in Bangalore? I think till people join in, we can just.
It's little better now. It's not too hard.
It's rained here too, so it's a little cool
Oh,
actually.
okay. Hey, hi Mubashra. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. I'm sure it will be helpful. Like, I don't think there will be a big difference. So yes, we can have a discussion and we can try to answer your doubts, whatever. So I think we have a lot of people joining in, so we can start. Hi everyone, this is Aarti Madan. I'm type 1 from almost 15-16 years now, and yeah, living a good life, no issues, just like as say in BCDF, it's just breaking the barriers. So yeah, with me we have Ipshita. Ipshita, if you can please introduce yourself.
Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm Ipsita. I'm an architect, and I've also been type 1 diabetic for around 15 years now. And I have an 8-year-old son. And yeah, I think let's start this. And I'm a little excited and a little nervous to do this, but I'm sure we'll have a good time.
Thank you, Psita, for the introduction. So let's start. I think we'll start with the prerequisites, and then we can go to the duration of the pregnancy, labor, and then postpartum. So yeah, I'm a new mom, just 3 months. So I have this all, like the fresh things and all. But frankly, for pregnancy, I have not planned that much. And like the one thing what I did and like I followed throughout is maintaining a good HbA1c. So it was not like just for the pregnancy thing, but it's always the goal that okay, I have to maintain my pregnancy below 6 and somewhere around 5.5, 5.6. Although I never reached 5.5, but 5.6 was something I always stick to. Like it went to 5.7 and that way, but that was the major thing. And with that, uh, regular monitoring, because you'll able to achieve a good HbA1c only when you have a system assigned, like okay, I have to regularly monitor even if you're not on CGM. Obviously CGM is a big help, but if you're not on CGM, regular monitoring is the key. Ipsita, what's your thought here?
Yeah, I mean, considering it's been a long time since I did this, but before we started planning, we did meet both the gynecologist and my endocrinologist to kind of understand where we were at and if it was a good time to start. I was not as well controlled at that point of time because I was not on a CGM, but I started the CGM when we started planning, and that was, I think, the game changer. It really helped. I was
Yeah.
when we started planning, my HbA1c was 6.7, and since it was under 7, the doctors were quite okay with it. But after starting on the CGM, it has been below 6, and in during pregnancy also it was below 6 after we conceived. And yeah, I think it's very important to have your team in place, your medical team and your support system at home before you think of planning. Of course, not all pregnancies are planned. That is also there. So we have to, I mean, it's best to have a good discipline in place. When I
Yeah.
planned, I was still new to insulin and still learning a lot of new things at that point of time. So it was a little challenging to start with, but having a CGM really, really helped. It made all the
Yeah.
difference, I felt, because
Yeah.
we were not just
CGM.
shooting in the dark.
Yeah,
So that
yeah,
really helped.
exactly. CGM
And
work like wonders. And
yes,
obviously with CGM in normal days also we suggest that at least, couple of times we should check with
yes,
glucometer as well, and same goes with the pregnancy time.
that's true.
Also lifestyle modification. So like low carb, that works wonder. Okay, so that is what I have realized in my case, that before, like I was on high carb diet, earlier, frankly, before joining Blue Circle, we used to think okay, take insulin and you can control the sugar and eat whatever. But yeah, a lot of things. And like my sister who's a dietitian, she was always there to guide me. So then I realized, okay, no, the carb content is like one thing that let you down sometime. So low carb work wonder. And like the prerequisite of pregnancy, what I feel is it's more or less same as normal cases. Okay, like yeah, the diet, the HbA1c, the regular monitoring. What other things is like you said, getting your team right. Yes, it's very important to get a right gynecologist, endocrinologist in place, and especially a gynecologist who have a experience with
Yeah,
diabetic patients like type 1 and type 2, whatever. So I was lucky in that case. I really got a very good gynecologist who understood what diabetes is, what type 1, because earlier I have seen a lot of doctors still don't understand the difference between type 1 and type 2. So yeah, that is very important to get a good doctor in place.
Hmm. So I have a different opinion, a slightly different opinion. I mean, I'm
Okay.
sure low carb works very well, but
Yeah.
for me personally, I never found it as a sustainable solution. Living in a
Okay.
family, figuring
Yeah.
out your own meals, it was too
Yeah.
much of a mental stress for me.
Right.
So I've always been on a normal diet. I wouldn't say a high carb diet, but like a moderate, like our
Yeah.
daily sabji roti, dal chawal, that kind of a thing.
Yeah. But
So
then I'm
what
sure you
helped
would have
me with that,
maintained, you know, like no lot of cheat meals, and you have maintained a a constant diet
that
throughout
that
before.
of course. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't go into binge eating and eating
Yeah. Yeah.
samosas and
Exactly.
pakoras and
Right.
all of those things, but like
Yeah.
normal, healthy, balanced diet with your
Right.
salad and your roti and dal and rice and
Yeah.
whatever else. But I think during pregnancy, one struggle was definitely maintaining the sugars because of
Yeah.
the higher carb content of the food. But what really helped, I felt, for people who are not able to do low carb or for whatever reason possible, what really helped me was splitting the meals. So,
Yeah.
like in
Small
breakfast, I would
meals.
have one slice of bread in the
Yeah.
morning before office, and I'd carry another slice for later. So, and again, a bread in the morning. And then maybe after a couple of hours, had another slice when my started coming down. And similarly with lunch, also, I'd like have one roti maybe when the lunch started, and one maybe by the time it was finishing, or maybe even a little
Yeah.
later. So that breaking
Right.
up of the meal really helped. Of course, the
Yeah.
salads and all the other protein stuff helps. But
Correct.
for the people who are not able to do low carb for whatever reason, like me, because I
Yeah.
don't find
Yeah.
it sustainable as such for myself,
Yeah.
so that really helped. And yeah, I think that's the other thing I
Yeah,
would like to add.
so I think the majorly here the conclusion says either you try to maintain a low carb, or if you're not trying to, like, if you're not able to maintain a low carb, at least have a constant meal so that you know what spikes and what doesn't spikes.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So
That's true.
uh, yeah, so we'll maybe discuss in the next part when we'll discuss the diet and the pregnancy in detail. But any more pointers here for from you for pre-pregnancy time?
I think we've covered it. Pre-pregnancy
Yeah,
is pretty similar to the other, I mean, non-diabetic
exactly.
women
Yes,
also, because you have to get your
correct,
folic acid and all your other vitamins and all of those things in place. Get
correct,
your sugar, like your blood test reports should all be in place as per whatever the doctor suggests. And yeah, I mean, I don't think that is much different besides the HbA1c and your sugar readings being in control. It'll be, I think, it's probably advisable to have your system in place, your blood
right,
for your blood sugar management. If that is in
right.
place, I think the rest
And
is
I
pretty
believe not
similar.
only blood sugar, even the other tests, like even for the
Yes,
normal people who are not diabetic, like who don't have any lifestyle disorder, so they also
yes,
prefer to go for a lot of tests. They
yes.
also start a lot of supplements. So I think it's more or like same for us also,
It's
right?
similar, yeah. Wait, I
Yeah,
mean, if your system is set, I think like generally
right,
your workout system, your eating, your insulin patterns, your sugar patterns, all of this is set, then I think it's the rest is similar
right,
for any
right,
pregnancy.
right. So Sonali, yes, it's obviously suggested to be taking insulin before, but again,
Yes,
it depends on a lot of things. Like if you have a low sugar, like if your sugar is somewhere around say 70-75, which is not low, not high, but on just the verge of getting low, so you can take it in between also. So that really depends on your pre-mill sugars also, right?
that's
Ipsita, you have anything to add there?
no, that's I think that's about it. And like I did take the whole insulin at the start. Like if I was having lunch,
Yeah,
the food, whatever 8-9 units that I took for lunch, I would take it at the beginning. Only eat one roti, and then maybe in half an hour or an hour, I'll take the other one. So that
yeah,
was it. So I wasn't splitting the insulin. I was just splitting the food to balance out
right,
the insulin.
right.
you know.
So, yeah, guys, this is majorly we have covered what is needed pre pregnancy. And like we discussed, it is more or less like what is required for a non diabetic people. Just the addition is regular monitoring and a controlled HbA1c. That's it. That is the major difference. Which is required. And yeah, if you can find a gynecologist who is experienced with diabetic patients, that will be like a cherry on the cake.
True.
Now the main part, which is the duration of pregnancy. Here I think that is the major thing, because the people who are not diabetic, they also tend to get diabetes, which is called gestational diabetes.
Yes.
So it is obvious that the sugar levels increases during that time, or the body produces less insulin at that time. So that is the major thing. So again, the thing that goes without say that maintaining a good sugar levels and regular monitoring is the key in all the cases, like whether it's pre-pregnancy, during pregnancy, or postpartum. Nothing goes without maintaining a regular sugar and testing regularly. So again, if you are able to, if you can afford, like we know, this Libre Pro is now being discontinued. The CGMs have become expensive, but if possible, don't leave that, because that will help you to the best. Because pricking again and again and again, it's not possible. Yeah, you can do that couple of days, but every day you cannot prick yourself 6 times. So if you can use a CGM or a flash glucose monitor, that will help you the best.
True. Absolutely. I mean, it is a game changer, I think, in
Yeah,
diabetes management, having a CGM or not. So yeah,
yeah,
wherever possible, we should. I mean, I know it's not always accessible, but if
right.
possible, then yes.
Yeah. And like dietary habits, like we discussed in pre-pregnancy, it goes like same for during the pregnancy also. If you can maintain kind of a low carb, it's well and good. If not, at least try to maintain a constant diet. And they say pregnancy craving, frankly, Ipshita, I never had any. I was very
Even
focused
I did.
on healthy
Touch wood.
eating. What about you?
I did not. And no,
Yeah,
even
even
I
I
don't.
never
I
did.
don't remember having any specific
Same,
cravings for
same.
any specific food or anything.
So,
And also, one more thing that helped was being active. Like I used to
correct.
walk,
Same.
so like after every meal, I'd try to go and do like a
Yeah.
10, 15, 20 minute walk,
Yeah.
and so that also really helped to
Yeah.
maintain the sugar. And
Right.
yeah, so just keep active and not just sit around. Of course not
Exactly.
that also might not be possible for everybody, because everybody's
Right.
journey is different.
Same,
But
different. Yes.
wherever
Yes.
possible, be active, keep doing your
Yeah.
regular exercise, whatever you're doing, whether it's a walk or gym or yoga or whatever it is. Just
Yeah.
keep at it. I mean, the consistency probably is what helps. And
That
there will be
that
bad days, there will be days when you probably can't manage and it's going high,
right.
your sugars are high, but don't worry about it so much. I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
a day or two of being high will make that much of a difference.
Correct.
Best
Correct.
to have, I mean, mentally, you should not
Yeah.
take it
I feel
too hard.
stress will increase it more. Like,
Yeah,
even if
that's true.
you feel
So,
calm
yeah,
down,
I
okay,
mean,
it's okay. Even
yeah,
I had days where I had to take it. I took at least 4 5 times I took correction dosage, but that was okay, because especially in the last trimester, the sugar levels will shoot up no matter what. Like,
that's true.
for me, dinners are mostly like veggies and protein, any kind of protein, right? Still after that also my sugar used to go
Yeah,
to 200, 250, and I used to be like, okay, it's what happening. Then I discussed with my doctor, and she said, no, it's normal. It's just what,
yeah,
now you know that it's increased, and it will increase till your delivery time, so you just have to correct
adjust.
your dosage. So next time, if today I'm taking 2 units, next day I made sure I'll take 4 units.
Hmm,
So that's how we have to manage,
that's
because
true.
last trimester is the most tricky one, where
That's true.
sugar goes up and up and up. So yeah, I think, yeah, there even the food doesn't work that much.
Yeah,
But
because
again,
there are
like,
lots of other things at play.
yes, yes. But like you
That's
mentioned, yeah, being active work like wonders. And not only in controlling the sugar, I felt overall for the
hmm.
delivery process, for the postpartum, everything, like being active was really helpful. Like uh, whatever, you walk, yoga, whatever. And even like I don't remember I rested even one day. Like, of course, so there are problems like with the placenta or anything like the cervix, for which doctors suggest to take full complete rest. But I believe if your doctor is okay for you to work out, please do work out.
Yes.
That's really important. That's really, really important. And maintain it. Like, it's not like you're doing one day, you're not doing next day. It's okay if you're
Hmm.
not able to do once or twice in a week. That's okay. But try to be
Hmm.
consistent.
Choose an activity that you like, I guess,
Yeah.
whichever one that
Yeah.
is, that you can be consistent at.
Yeah. So, and that will not only help in maintaining the blood sugar, but also the overall, pregnancy journey. It will make smoother.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. And like eating, with exercise, eating we have discussed, but I believe the high protein diet also works great in the
Hmm.
diabetes. Like whatever I had discussion with my gynec. And so for non-vegetarians it's more easier to get more high
That's
protein diet. But for vegetarians it's little difficult. But I'm sure there are a lot of nowadays diabetic friendly proteins and everything. So yeah, it's not that difficult nowadays because we have a lot of options to consume. But I'm sure, Ipsita, it must be little tough during when you, because that time I don't think CGM was also that common.
Thankfully, I did manage to get on a CGM, like I told you, just before we
Yeah.
started planning. So probably like a
Okay.
month before I conceived, I had started on a CGM. It was a Dexcom CGM, and I'm still using a
Okay.
Dexcom only, which is a little tough to get, but it's worked much better for me than a Libre has, because for me personally, it was not as reliable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, having that CGM in addition to the pregnancy and getting used to it, all the new things made life so much easier. I mean, I did
Yeah.
struggle
I'm
with a
sure.
few hypos which were a little bad, but again, because of the CGM, it was a lot easier to deal with than
Yeah.
having to, guess what is happening, sort of a thing. Because there
Right.
was, I don't know if anybody else has faced this, but with Novo Rapid, there were times when my sugar would just plummet and it'll just drop for no reason.
Yeah.
Normally it'll take like 15-20 minutes or half an hour, for the sugars to be okay before I start eating with Novo
Yeah.
Rapid. But there were times when in 5-10 minutes it'll just drop, and I did have one seizure in between two, which was a little scary.
Oh.
But
Okay.
thankfully nothing went wrong. I mean, I was okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
I
for
believe
me that was a
these things,
little.
yeah, you have to be strong. Like, you cannot
That's
stress, because if you take stress, it will like impact more.
that's true. That's
Yeah.
absolutely true.
And then next thing is the medication. I feel even not, again, this is not very specific to diabetic or non-diabetic people. It's for everyone that we should should not miss any medications and all the supplements and everything. That's important.
That's true.
Like, I think what we had, calcium, iron, folic acids. I think you must be
Yes.
having the same, right? So
Yes.
that is, these are the
Plus,
like the
I'm
common.
yeah, I'm also hypothyroid, so yeah, I was on thyroxine also throughout, and of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
we have to make sure that those levels are also in the right place, because that
Yes,
is very
yes, that.
important during
Yeah,
pregnancy to have
and
your thyroid
yeah.
in place.
So even like I remember my doctor had increased the dosage, because even the
Mm-mm.
thyroid level increases during
Yes,
the pregnancy.
yes,
So they generally give you, some
a higher
unit,
dose.
yeah, some extra units and all, so that you can maintain it well. And then after
That's
delivery they just stop it.
did reduce it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
true.
Yeah, but and like how was like what was the toughest part you think you felt that during the pregnancy that okay this was difficult? I'm sure it must be in the last trimester, whatever it is.
I think the delivery part was a little
Oh,
difficult.
okay.
Thankfully,
Yeah,
I mean, I think God was kind. My pregnancy as such went pretty all right. I don't think I struggled with too many things. I did not have any
yeah,
cravings. I did not have any morning sickness, because I
yeah.
know morning sickness was one thing we were very worried about, all of us, my family and me, because once you've taken insulin and you throw up, then what happens, sort of a thing.
Yeah.
But again, it didn't happen to me, so I really don't know how people. I don't. Did you have morning sickness? Was that something
No,
you had
no,
to
it's
deal with?
same with me. No morning sickness, no nausea, nothing. Like I was,
Yeah, so
uh,
that
like
was something we were worried
perfectly.
about, because
Yeah, yeah,
you've taken insulin and then you throw up everything. Then how do you manage? But I think people manage with juices and stuff. But
yeah.
yeah, I think it is manageable. But again, I think
It's
pregnancy wise,
manageable.
I was lucky enough that there was nothing that
Yeah, even
kind of.
even same with me. And like we discussed, somewhere or other, a good diet and a active lifestyle,
Yes,
matters. In all
that's
these
true.
cases, no, it's not like because we had, but I felt I have seen other people also, and that's what from my experience that these two things really matters a lot.
Hmm,
And for us, a additional point is monitoring.
that's true.
Yeah. And like you mentioned that delivery part. So if we go to the delivery part, yes, it is difficult. And I heard yesterday also from the group there were a couple of questions regarding, how does it causes hypo during the delivery? So what was your experience that time?
Uh, during delivery, actually, hypo. I did not have a hypo. My sugars
Yeah.
were fairly consistent.
So
They were not
sorry to ask, it
high.
was a, vaginal delivery or a
No,
C-section?
actually, actually the delivery part was where the drama happened. So
Okay.
if I can, I'll just take 2 minutes extra for this,
Yeah, yeah, sure,
because
sure.
as per our birth plan, like we discussed with my doctor, was we were planning to induce on a certain date. I think when I'd finished my 37 weeks, I think in the last day of that was when my doctor had said, you get admitted and we'll induce a natural delivery. And so the night before, I had packed up everything and I was ready to go to the hospital in the morning. But at around 1 in the night, my water broke. And so since it was a high risk pregnancy, my dad is a doctor, so we just rushed to the hospital in the night itself. And thankfully we did. We were living in a medical college campus, so everything was nearby. My doctor was nearby, thankfully, again. And when we reached there, we got to know that I had a cord prolapse. So I don't know how many of you know what a cord prolapse is, but it's basically the umbilical cord had come out before the baby had started coming out. So that is a very dangerous situation, because if something like that happens and the baby's trying to come out, they can kind of cut out their own oxygen and food supply and
Right.
everything.
Oh, okay.
So I had to have an emergency C-sec.
Okay.
So you kind of
Oh,
listen.
okay.
So I had to have an emergency C-sec, and so yeah, I mean that was the scary part, because I don't know that during I was given a general anesthesia. I did not have an
Okay.
epidural, or I didn't go through any of the normal process that happens,
Right.
even if you have like a planned cesarean. So those
Okay.
steps I really don't know, because they had to do everything quickly, and
Right, right.
yeah, so
But
I
you
think
remember that during all this process, like the C-section and
my
everything,
sugars were
you
fairly stable.
fairly
Yes,
okay.
yes,
Okay. For
thankfully, yes.
me, I had a vaginal delivery, and like even I was worried that it might go low. So when I admitted, so I was using this meow meow, and my husband was like continuously monitoring it on the phone. So during the delivery part, obviously with the normal delivery, with the labor increasing, the stress increases because
Hmm.
the pain and everything.
Yeah.
So what we felt that my sugars were going up.
Hmm.
So then during that process only my husband asked my gynec that, ma'am, her sugars are going up, what should I do? She said, okay, it's okay, wait, let the process get completed, because the stress is increasing, sugar will increase
Mm.
a little. Then just after the delivery he gave me a, like, just couple of unit of a correction dose, and then it was all okay. So the only
Mm.
part why it went up, because of the
Of the
stress was
stress.
increasing in the body. Yes.
So
So
till how much did it go up? I mean, I'm just
uh,
curious.
I think it was somewhere close to 270 or something.
How it.
Yeah. So yeah, so that is one important thing, and I tell that to everyone, even like if people are non-diabetic, that it's very important to keep your partners aligned.
That's true.
Because during my pregnancy and sometime before also, I used to ask my husband, okay, you give me shots, okay, you test my sugar. So if there is a need, like if maybe someday I'm not able to do, someone should be there. So I'm, maybe it's your husband, your mother, whoever is staying with you, someone
Hmm.
should be there with you who knows everything, what dose
Hmm.
you take, what you eat, and what to do when you go into hypo, what to do when you
Hmm.
are high. So I feel that is a very important part.
That's true. Absolutely.
So
And I
because
think somebody was asking about epidural and all. Did you have to get an epidural?
no, so that is something, like I did some research, I have discussed like during my birth plan discussion with my doctor, and that is something I told that I don't want to get it. Okay. About its pros and cons also we discuss. So some people say that it has a lot of cons, some people say no, it's not a side effect of epidural, because like the back pain and all, lot of people say. So obviously there's a debate in that, but that's what we decided, that until and unless it's like very much needed, we will not do. So
Okay.
we opted out. Yeah.
Okay. Even we had not planned for an epidural because we were planning for a natural birth. But I think
Yeah.
at that point, what we had thought of adding was we have those patches which give those electric shocks, kind of a thing, kind of to subside the pain. I'm forgetting what it's called, but that is
Okay.
another way of pain relief.
Not, yeah, I'm
Uh,
not aware
I
about
should
that.
have checked what it is called. But I mean, basically, it was not an epidural that we were planning to take, but it
Okay.
was these. I really need to check what it is called. Maybe I'll just check that and get back. But yeah, we
Yeah.
did not plan on an epidural either. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, even same with us, like that's what, like in normal also, when the pain was increasing, the labor came to almost the second last stage and all. So like I said, luckily I was like I got a very good gynecologist, and like I was very lucky in that case. So she told me, she explained me that generally when you give epidural, it's majorly the second stage or last stage. Okay.
Hmm.
And then after that, the duration of pain will be less only, because anyways they are not going to give you, at the initial stage.
Hmm.
So that's what she explained, that she thinks no point, but if you still think, you can take.
Hmm.
So she suggested, like she discussed well, that okay, we don't think this is the suggestion and all that. So yeah. So yeah, initially discussed that we don't want that. And
Okay, I
like
was just
one
checking
more
this.
thing
This
you just
is
said. Yeah, sorry.
called a TENS machine, which
Okay.
has basically electrodes. It's a non-invasive way for pain relief.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay.
So I've never heard about that. And like you discussed about inducing the so I think in most of the diabetes cases, doctors advise to induce after 37 week, because in most cases the baby goes overweight, and in some
Mm-mm.
cases they go underweight. But whatever the case is, doctors generally suggest to induce early because of the risk. So
That's
if I may ask, like was it the case with you, like the weight and all?
No, actually, I think I was fairly disciplined, and
Okay.
I did not. Uh, uh, I did not gain any extra weight. Whatever weight I did gain was because of the baby and the
Yeah.
fluid and everything else. So, I mean, considering I must have gained around 6, 7 kgs in total.
Yeah.
even in the final trimester. So yeah, I mean, I was not eating any. I was being very
Big.
careful
Yeah.
with my eating,
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah,
walking
and that
regularly
is
and
that
keeping
is
active.
the most important thing I feel. So for me,
Yeah.
the case was opposite, that my baby was underweight compared
Yeah,
to the
even
average
my
woman.
baby, when he was born, he was less than 3. He was
Yeah, same.
2.6, 2.7. Yeah,
Yeah,
so yeah,
yeah.
he was a small
So
baby only, not a
for
big
yeah,
baby.
so that's what, when I discussed with doctor, she said in most of the diabetes cases, baby tends to be overweight in major
Yeah.
cases. Okay, so
If
that
sugars
is
are
the
running
reason.
high, I think, yeah,
Yes, yes. If you are not like, fairly
controlled.
controlled. So, and in that majorly, that sorry, and that is why they suggest to induce early, but it is always advisable that, to not wait for 40 weeks.
Yes.
So yeah,
Whatever
that
said
was.
and done, it does come into high risk pregnancy,
Yes,
so they
yes,
do.
yes,
They
yes.
are a lot more careful. Plus, I think
Yeah,
even like anyway, they say after 30 it's all high risk only. So I
yeah.
had my baby after 30 only. So
Same here.
it was like
Yeah.
a double high
But I
risk
think which
pregnancy,
is
and
common
nobody
these
knows.
days. Like mostly everyone is
Yeah, that
having
is
after
true.
30.
That is
That is
true.
like
Mostly,
common.
most people are
Yeah.
having babies later these days. So
Yes.
I think they're also used to it.
Yeah, so at the end it's majorly about your lifestyle, your how active you are, like lifestyle, like
Yes.
everything in the lifestyle, basically eating habits, exercise, and how physically fit you are, how active you are. So all those things really matters a lot.
And I
And
think
again,
one
and let
more
me say
something was,
again.
sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you continue.
No, I think somebody had asked if the diabetologist needs to be present during delivery, but I did not have my
No, no.
diabetologist present.
Yeah, no, no,
And
no.
I don't think it's
It's
required
generally,
because
no,
the
no, it's
gynae
not.
team is fairly
Yeah,
well equipped to handle.
yes. And then again, the same thing comes that, try to find a gynecologist who has experience in treating the diabetic patients. So
That's true.
that is
That's true.
important.
That team is very important. Yes.
Yeah, that is important. So I think only after, during delivery process, they just call the pediatrician. So except the
Mm.
gynecologist's team, it's pediatrician who's available just to
Neonatal.
check the
Yes.
baby
Yes.
immediately after delivery. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that was the only case. Any more pointers you want to add for during
Um,
pregnancy and labor, and anything we missed?
I think somebody was also asking about skin to skin and all of that, but I think you would know better because I was out cold after delivery.
Yeah. So skin to skin, yes. So a couple of things are there in that. So uh, the umbilical cord, if someone is trying to store the umbilical cord, so if they are doing the stem cell preservation, that time the stem cell, they have to cut immediately, and they give you baby immediately for skin to skin. But in case you don't want to get your umbilical cord stored, it is always suggested to have delayed clamping. So they clamp umbilical cord after, say, 1 minute or something, like somewhere around, after 40 50 seconds, they cut the umbilical cord, so that the blood in the umbilical cord goes to the baby.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then after that they give you skin to skin. So that is the only difference. So it is not related to diabetic or non-diabetic.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
true.
that
That's
is
true.
the
That
yeah.
has nothing to do with
So
diabetes. Yeah.
like
I
we
think it's a
we
general
had
question.
yeah, so because we planned to not store the umbilical cord, so we could have immediately.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
That's great.
And
Okay. Do we move to the
yeah.
postpartum?
Yeah, I think that is something, like people say the pregnancy is difficult part. I would say no. Pre-pregnancy
No, no, not
pregnancy
at
is
all. I
super
think
easy. Yeah, the actual
that's
part is
the easy
this.
part.
Yeah, that's the easiest
Yes.
part. Yes. Yeah, so this is the actual part, and majorly the sugar levels. I'm not sure, Ipshita, how it happened with you, but for me, what I realized, so the first meal I had for the day. So my baby was born around 5 o'clock in the morning. The first breakfast I had and I took the normal insulin which I was taking during my last trimester.
Oh, okay.
And oh my god, my sugar
You took too much
level
insulin.
just going, yeah, down and down and down. It went to 30, 35 also. And I was just recovering from the pain of delivery, and my sugar was not getting control even after eating so much. So, there's
Mm-hmm.
only this sugar pouches were available in the hospital. I don't even remember how many sugar pouches I had that day. I was asking for the glucose. I was asking for the sugar pouches. I was just drinking glucose, glucose, glucose. Then I realized, and then obviously for my rescue, always this blue circle diabetes, the woman only group comes to rescue. Then I send a query on this, and somebody told me that no, now your sugar will decline
Mm-hmm.
maybe to half or maybe less than that, so just reduce your dosage with that much.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that I realized, but it took me at least a whole day to get over those lows. So yeah, that is very important, because I was not aware that after delivery that much changes happen for the insulin requirement in the body. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was immediate changes. How was it
That's
for you? Because
Uh, frankly, I don't remember my first meal. It's a long
okay,
time back. But I was aware of the fact that I will have to reduce my
okay,
insulin as
okay,
after delivery because your needs drop. And
yeah,
especially if you're breastfeeding and all the your general insulin requirement goes down. So
yeah,
I don't think I had any hypos. I don't remember it. I don't recollect it.
okay,
But I was aware of the fact that I need to reduce my insulin. And I think probably I did not take insulin like I used to
oh, okay,
initially. I probably took it
okay,
later, like maybe after my meal or maybe a little bit. But
okay, okay,
I don't clearly remember this. This is a
yeah,
little vague in my
yeah,
memory.
yeah.
But yeah, like I was aware of it.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so for me, maybe that's where my research lacked and I wasn't aware. But oh God, I can never forget, like, it was
It's
that
the worst feeling, I
horrible
think,
time.
when your sugar is not going up, no? You're
Yeah.
eating and drinking and doing whatever else and not
And
helping.
I still remember, like, I was having this glucose, and then my whole that's food table, that movable food table you get now in hospital, that was all full with it got filled with like all the sugar pouches, and I was like, okay, what is this? But I was just eating, eating, eating. It was nothing was happening.
I know, I know. I can
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah. And with this food thing, I remember one more thing. The food. So, what we get in hospital, like most of the hospitals still don't have diabetic friendly food. How about you? Like for me, I literally had to ask my husband that please request doctor that I cannot have hospitals food. So generally they don't allow patients to eat outside food. But then my husband spoke to my doctor. She wrote a letter, and then we gave to hospital that I cannot have. Imagine they were giving me idli sambar after delivery, and I told clearly that okay, I cannot eat it because it's Bangalore, right? Idli is their staple, and they were giving that.
Yes.
And so one is diabetes, and second is like I know my mom will never allow me to eat idli sambar today. So that was something I told that okay, I cannot eat no matter what. So you have to take permission, and mom can cook at home and you can get it. So
Yeah,
uh,
again, I mean, my dad is a doctor, that
yeah,
helped. And
yeah,
I was in the same hospital. I was in a government hospital only because my dad was working there itself. So it was
okay,
not so strict, so to say.
okay.
So my mom just got food from home and we just
Yeah,
ate
so
that.
basically
That
you
was
also
not a
had
problem.
the homemade food, right?
Home food only, yes.
Yeah, so that
Nothing
is
else.
one thing which is very important, and we should pre-inform them,
Yes,
or your partner should pre-inform them, because
the hospital,
I feel
yes.
no hospital, or maybe there must be some couple of hospitals who provide, but 90% hospitals don't provide diabetic friendly meal.
Hmm.
That was my experience. Like I have seen like even my in-laws when admitted in hospital, I never seen that people are getting diabetic friendly meals.
Hmm.
Especially in Bangalore, I never saw. It's like always rice, idli, dosa. These are the
Hmm.
things you can get in the breakfast. So,
That's,
yeah. Anything else you want to add there
and I was just seeing what there were some questions yesterday, right?
regarding this also?
I think the people were asking about formula milk and stuff for the. I don't think it's a diabetes specific thing, but
No,
just a
no, no, no,
pregnancy
no.
thing probably. But if you have any insights on formula and stuff, because I've not done formula at all.
Yeah.
So
So, yeah, that's totally depends. So, like, I think it's more of a lactation based question. It depends on person to person. Some females are able to lactate good, some are not able to lactate, so they have to give formula. So, I think she asked like if it is, that increase
yes,
the sugar levels, or so I think it doesn't. Okay, whatever is available in India also, it is all FDA approved. So in India, they are not allowed to sell any kind of formula without approval, FDA approval. So it is not gonna harm. It depends. If you are able to lactate, well and good, feed
that's
your child. If you are not able to, you are not gonna keep your child hungry, right?
of
So you
course,
have
of
to give
course.
formula. So
Nutrition
no
is
question.
important in whichever form you can. Of course, first would
Exactly.
be breast milk, but if that is not an
Exactly.
option for whatever reason, then
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely you will have to get into a formula. Of course, I think
Correct.
there are so many in the market, and I'm sure you research as to what works for them, what they feel is
Exactly.
right and what is not,
Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
also a personal preference. Somebody might be
Exactly.
more particular about sugar, giving sugar and not. And I think she was also mentioning giving sugar and salt to children. So I think it is not advised. I don't know what
No,
doctors
no,
say,
it's not.
but for
It's
the
not. Even
first
in India,
year
they
or
don't
two,
give.
it is
Yeah,
not advised to give sugar or salt. Maybe a pinch of
yeah.
sugar and salt, if at all, but not. I
No,
don't think it's advised to
not at
give
all.
any
Yes,
salt.
yes, not at all. So, yeah, and I think the most important question out of all is how do you manage yourself with, the newborn and your sugar levels and your routine? Uh, I think your voice is breaking, Ipshita. Hello?
Yeah. Hello?
Ipshita, are we connected? I think we lost her. Maybe we'll just wait a few seconds for her to join back. Meanwhile, I can just like continue on the topic we were discussing. Like, of course, after postpartum, the most important thing is how do you maintain the sugar levels while taking care of child. So yeah, it's very difficult because your routine changes, your sleep schedule changes, and your eating habits and everything, because you don't have like now the normal routine and everything like you were having before delivery. So yeah, that is something we all need to take care of the most. Like even I suffered there because I couldn't sleep in the night, so I used to wake up late and then eating late, and then all disturbed my the sugar levels, the HbA1c, everything after 1 month of delivery. But yeah, slowly I understood how I have to manage and what is working for me, what is not working for me. Hi, Apshita.
Hi, sorry. I was having
No
some
worries.
network issues. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I was just discussing like how the routine changes with the kid, like with the newborn, and sometimes we are not able to take care of our routine and our food, and also how it all worked for you, because I struggle to
I think,
get
yeah,
myself back into the routine. And
yes,
sometime I
yes,
used to like just ignore my food, like okay, breakfast, okay, it's okay, I will not eat because I want to sleep, because I've not slept whole night. So how it
yes.
works for you?
It was a little bit of a struggle initially, I think. because I mean you're getting used to so many new things. There's so many new
Yes.
variables into the picture, so it is tough to give yourself the priority that you need to give, especially managing your diabetes and all of those
Yeah.
things. But yeah, I mean it took a bit of time and there were ups and downs. But yeah, I think consistency again, just make sure that you keep
Exactly.
doing it. However, whenever possible, get back to it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it's not easy. I'm not gonna say
It's
it's
not
easy.
easy.
I think
Yeah.
that was the toughest phase, I think, of
Yes. Especially, I think
uh
the first 1 month, I feel that
yes,
was like still
extremely.
because
Because
I'm
you're
3 months
sleep
postpartum
deprived.
and now I feel okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
But the
I
first
think the
month
first
was
month is
tough.
definitely the
Yeah.
toughest because you're
Yeah.
kind of finding your way into this new territory
Yes.
of being a new
Yeah.
person
And you need someone with you, like your
all the
mom, your
time.
mother-in-law, your
Yes.
help,
Yes.
whatever. But you need someone,
Yes, having that
who
support, family
is
support is
important.
extremely
Yes,
important.
very important.
And thankfully, I was very lucky to have that. My mom was there the whole time. My sister
Yeah,
was there,
same.
so she used to also,
I
come in the night and help
Yeah.
out with the baby, put him to sleep. So
For
that
me,
really,
luckily,
really
my
helped.
mom plus my mom-in-law both were there. So,
That's
like,
really nice.
yeah, that was like this, like big relief. But still, I struggle because for us it was all new.
Hmm,
Actually, you know,
that's true.
during a pregnancy or pre-pregnancy, we all normally tend to prepare for labor, but we never prepare for postpartum,
That
right?
is true. Nobody tells you how bad it
No,
is.
exactly. Or how
Everybody
bad or
sugarcoats
how it's
the whole
gonna be.
thing.
Yeah. So
That's
that
true.
was something. And like I said, even managing the sugar, I struggled so much for 1 month.
Yes,
But yeah,
it
slowly
was.
now, if someone gonna ask me, I'm gonna tell them, okay, if you're taking 10 units in breakfast, just make it five, or
Hmm.
maybe just wait, or how your levels are doing. But
See your
it's okay if
patterns
it
for a
is
few
going
days.
little high, but low sugar at that point it's very difficult to manage, because you are
It is.
already came out of a surgery, or a the vaginal delivery pain or anything, and managing a low sugar that time, it's like super difficult.
That is true. It is true.
Yeah.
And I think adding probably more protein and fatty meals at that time helps. Those,
Yes,
what do you
yes,
get?
for sure.
Those panjiri, what do you
Yes,
call it?
yes,
The
yes.
one with
So
fat.
that's
So
what,
I
like,
think those are very good, especially with low sugar and stuff. I think that really
yes.
helps
So,
because it has a lot
like
of
we
nutritious stuff.
Yes, so 40 days, especially after postpartum. So I'm Punjabi. So
Hmm.
in our traditions also, my mom, like moms made the panjiri homemade with all that
Hmm.
different ingredients and all. So the only difference what she did for me, she didn't added sugar or jaggery. So it was all dry fruits and whatever the other
Hmm.
they add, this jari booty and all that, just for the postpartum thing. She did everything without sugar and jaggery, so it's possible.
I think you can add a little sugar and jaggery too with breastfeeding. It's okay. You can manage it. I mean, you have to control the quantity. You don't just go eating it, binge
Yeah,
eating, but yeah, a little bit here and there
yeah,
just to sustain for a sustained energy release sort of a thing. It works. I
yeah,
mean, I personally felt it worked for me. Yeah,
yeah. So again, like, how you're managing it depends on that,
that's true.
like, the levels and everything, like even if you are having, so how you're managing. So I didn't had, so I had it without sugar and jaggery. And like, of course, like while the breastfeeding, sugar declines drastically, so that is also a time where you have to monitor how it's
Hmm.
working for you, how much low it's going, so so that you can manage your eating before, or your dosage before, and everything. And like, it is always advised to keep something handy. So a lot of people advise
Yes.
me that, well, whenever you're feeding, you should always have something handy, like a cracker or a biscuit, glucose biscuit, something, in case you feel that you're going low.
Hmm. So for me, I always keep glucose next to me. So I have
Yeah.
this small dabba with a
Yeah.
measuring spoon in it. So
Yeah.
that's always with me in my bag, on my bedside, everywhere. So if ever I feel that I'm going low, I'll just take one spoon or
Yeah.
two spoon, depending on
Yeah.
how low I am at.
I keep
And so
that
that is always there.
glucovita gold, so that tablets are
Yeah.
there always. So yeah, that also helps a lot.
Yes.
I think we have mostly cover everything. and
Yeah, I
like
think if
we
there
just
are
left
any
with 5
questions or
minutes.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so if anyone have any question, please feel free to ask, and if we are able to, we will surely help. Okay, so Harsha, what my research and whatever my discussion with doctor says, it's not. Uh, baby, type 1 baby, like if you are asking if mother is a type 1, so is that does that transfers to baby? So it's a no. No, it doesn't. If Shita, you want to say something? So that's what my
Um,
research says, that it doesn't transfer.
so I don't think I can say a definitive no, because there
Yeah.
have been cases. So the
Okay.
probability is less, as far as I know. What they say is if the father is type 1
Yes.
diabetic, the chances are more.
Chances are more.
The
Yeah. Yeah.
percentage of a child having type 1 diabetes is more. But with a mother being type 1 diabetic, it is less. But of course, there are some chances. And
Yeah.
that is one thing we were very worried about also, because I mean, nobody wants to the
Yeah.
child to go through that pain. So yeah, I mean, my we have tested my son. There are tests now that you can do to check if your child might develop type 1
Yeah.
diabetes later on. So there are
Okay.
lab tests available in India also that you can do. And yeah, we've done that test. Not, I mean, I always wanted to do that test, but we kind of did it because my son got alopecia in between. I don't know if it's related to my autoimmune, or it might be because it's there in my husband's side of the family. It could be that.
Okay.
So because of
Okay.
that, we did do that test just to make sure that,
Right.
for our peace of mind. So
Right.
there are tests available, and yes, there is a small chance that your child might develop type 1 diabetes if the mother is type 1 diabetic. There are
Yeah,
more
but it's
chances if
very
the
rare. I think Nupur have replied there. So it's just 1 in 100.
yeah.
If the mother is type 1, and if father is type 1, it's 1 in 17.
So chances are more there.
Yes, yes. And one more thing, since we were talking about this test, one thing we missed. So during the scans, like during the pregnancy, I'm sure you would have also had. So there are a couple of different scans that during 8 month they do. I think seventh or 8 month for only for pregnant women, which is like cardio scan and neuro scan. So those scans for the fetus, they don't do for all the women. They only do for high risk pregnancy, especially in diabetic cases, because the only chances, the negative thing might happen, but that is only if you have very much uncontrolled diabetes, say your HbA1c never come below 10, and during diabetes also you are going to 300, and then you're going to 40 also. So cardiac activity might be impacted. So that's what the doctors said, that there are high chances of cardiac activity impact. So that is why they do a fetus echo scan and fetus neuro scan.
I'm sure I must have done it, but I really don't
Yeah, it's
remember.
been long. Yeah.
Yes.
So, Harsha, yes, like it's mentioned, if both the parents are type 1, then it's
There
1
will be
in
higher
10 and
chances.
1 in 4. Like, depends on the age. If it is like below 20, below
25.
25, it's 1 in 10, and above 25, it's 1 in 4. So, yes, if both are diabetic, there are high chances of diabetes transferring to baby.
Higher chance.
Anything else? Any other questions we have?
I guess that's it.
I guess yes. So if it's done, we can close the session. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Uh, I hope we were able to help in any case. And in case anyone have any doubt, you can please reach out to us through Blue Circle Diabetes Women's Group. We will be there to address any questions if you have.
Yes, always willing to
So
help
much.
whoever needs. I
Yes.
think that's, yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
really
Thank you,
nice
Akshita.
doing this session with you, Aarti. Thank you so much.
Same here. Thank you so much.
And please,
Bye.
I think you can
Good
all
Sunday, everyone.
follow the social media for Blue Circle Diabetes and
Yes.
keep in
Yes.
touch.
Yeah. And you can reach out to